yesterday we played the podcast for Brian Buffini, and I figured out the reason why the show started late yesterday is I had to figure out how to get Buffini's podcast playing in loud and clear in the Be Live, and I did it. Kane was even impressed.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, we had lots of interaction. Yeah, it was good. It was good. But we missed you.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And I like being here, and it motivates me, inspires me to get up and get going and get some things ready before we start at 9 o'clock.
Good, good. Let me get this text off the screen for right now. Because, Karen said it was great. Yeah, it was great. It was a great, Buffini's guest talked all about the impact of the pandemic on real estate. And
was it the Wells Fargo guy? Who was it?
Who was it, Karen? David? I had his name somewhere.
So it wasn't the Wells Fargo guy.
He's a mortgage guy. He's a mortgage guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a mortgage guy. Oh, we got our regulars. Hi, Cammie. Hi. Good to see you. Good morning, Miss Cookie. Sorry I was late yesterday. Hope you watched the replay, though. It was really good. Good information. And he feels that we're going to be minorly affected by this because most of the people that are going to buy are actually going to have the money to buy. There's a small percentage of people, even though you hear all these figures about people on unemployment, there's still people that are going to be able to buy. So, and the interest rates are so low that the payment requirements are low, and that might help any impact if they raise the FICO score. So anyway, the mortgage companies need to loan money. And you said that the other day, Jimmy.
Yep, that's how they get paid. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, there it is, David Stevens.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Kevin.
And I think it was one of our viewers actually worked with him at Long and Foster in California. So cool. That is good. So I ask a question, everybody. Do you know how many billions of dollars we are paid in commissions across the United States every year? Who knows the answer to that question? Anybody?
Not me, just so you know. I don't know it. I'm going to write it down.
Okay, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Give me just 1 second. You'll be amazed. This is why the iBuyer platforms are after our business. And this number is going to astound you. This is based on the 5.5 million homes that sell every year in the United States, and the average home price of $250,000, and an average commission of 2.5%. So I am going to show you right here. Oh, I left out. Whoops. Hold, please. Hold, please. This is the producer making a mistake. Okay, 34 billion. If you do the math.
34 billion. Yeah, okay, I'm doing the math. And
do the math.
Okay, 34 billion.
5.5 million times 6,250. That's why the people are after our industry, guys, because this is how much money we make. Make sense?
Yep. It's a lot of money.
A lot of money. And Jimmy, that was my question of the day. And your question of the day was, can you answer this question? Procuring cause is. So Jimmy, I'm going to put that question up here and we'll see if anybody can answer it. Now, if you were at our class the other day, you should really be able to answer this question. We had an ethics class. So procuring cause is, all right, who knows the answer? Besides Jimmy.
And you, because I grilled you on this in class.
I know, I got it. Procuring cause is determined by what? By who? Let's see, wait, we got to go. Man. Kathy said gross, not net. Gross. Gross commissions. Yes, that's what they're after, the gross commissions. Kathy, good question. Good clarification there. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, procuring cause is, now you got nobody answering.
They might not have been in class.
Then that's good. They're going to learn something, right?
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Jimmy, what is it?
determined by your peers based on a preponderance of evidence with no predetermined rule.
So
Procuring
that,
cause is determined by your peers, which means it's not up to you.
and so the guideline, the real thing that makes it such a sticky question and event in a realtor's life is that procuring cause says there's no predetermined rule. So, I mean, that's what makes it up to your peers to decide. It's a judgment call. There's nothing except the evidence that they utilize to make the decision. So it's not like you didn't do this, or you did do this, and this was wrong and that was right. It's not like that.
So Ruthie, you and I evaluated the basis. We're both on a panel together, and you think the threshold rule is really important, and I think the contract rule is really important. So we hear the same evidence, and you vote for one person, and I vote for the other person.
Right. So it has to be, the majority has to rule.
Yep.
Yeah. So Jimmy, what else do you have for us today?
Well, you know, I have been going to Buffini since 2003. So 17 years I've been to his Mastermind Summit. I think maybe I've missed 2 in the last 17 years. And I pulled out my books this last week, and I started at 2003 and started working forward. And it's interesting to me that every single year he works on our goals. He takes time out of the seminar, out of his teaching, and he says, get out your workbooks. We're going to work on your goals, your spiritual goals, your family goals, your business goals, your financial goals, your personal goals. And every single time he takes time to work on this. That's how important it is. And if we have 168 hours a week, which we really don't because we sleep part of it, but if we had 168 hours a week, 2% of that would be 3.4 hours. Are you spending 3.4, even 3 hours per week working on your goals? That's 2% of your time. And that's where the leverage is. That 2% is where the leverage is. And he talks about, I went back to, again, my books, and the 2004 workbook had a teaching piece in there that I think is so profound. I know we only have 30 minutes, but if I can spend a few minutes on this piece. Okay.
Let's learn something today.
Okay. I was at a seminar recently. I was actually giving a seminar recently in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And one of my students said, you know, Jimmy, there's different areas of the law. And here's what I've discovered in real estate and on panels. And this guy was a director, really high up in his board in Albuquerque, Greater Albuquerque Association. And he said, none of the attorneys have what they call a comprehensive understanding of the scope of the law, only their own area. And this morning I went online. Brown University has a web page called The Fields of Law. There are 17 different areas of law. It starts with admiralty law and ends with tax law. And admiralty law is one of the 17 areas. And admiralty law does not have anything to do with the law of the sea. It's maritime law and rights that people have, maritime law, but it's not the law of the sea. That comes into international law. So here's my point. If I said I'm a commercial real estate agent, well, do you mean strip centers? Do you mean industrial land? What do you mean by commercial? Is that office buildings? Are you a leasing specialist? What do you do? Motels and there's different areas within every discipline. Even with real estate residential, I'm great in Summerlin. I don't know that much about Henderson. So where is your focus? Are you really good? And the reason I bring this up is because in the teaching part of Buffini's content from the 2004 seminar, he always talks about survival, stability, success, and significance, the 4 S's. And he says, where are you? Survival, stability, success, significance in the 5 equities, which is spiritual, family, business, financial, personal. Where are you at in those 5 equities? But then he says, to move into these different stages, he said, you know what? Stability is just understanding. It's understanding about what you're supposed to be doing. And in that understanding stage, inside that, there are 5 disciplines. And that's called philosophy, attitude, goals, abilities, and skills. And for you to move up in some type of fashion that's organized and scripted and purposeful, you need to know how to get from the understanding stage, which is stability, to the success stage, which is excellence in execution. When your execution is excellent, that means you've moved from stability, We forget survival. We move from stability to success. You are successful when you have excellence in your execution in both your philosophies, how you're thinking, your attitudes. Are you excellent in your attitude? Your goals, your abilities, your skills. And to move from that level to the next level, survival, stability, success, significance, to move to significance, that's called the mastery stage. And mastery stage is all about how you help other people. And the mastery stage, the philosophy, the thinking part of that, philosophy means the love of learning. That's what philos is, love. Sophy is learning and knowledge. When you are mentoring others and championing others, your philosophy is at the right spot. So that's the mastery stage for your philosophy. When the mastery stage in the attitude is, do you cause or create the creation of environments where people could be successful? And I shared this with Karen the other day. Karen is, to me, she is a master broker because she creates the environment for her agents to be successful. That's what she does. She's teaching Buffini all the time, every week, very consistent with that. And I told her, I said, the difference between a good broker and a great broker is a great broker creates that culture consistently. And she's very consistent. So I would elevate her from a good broker to a great broker. But in your goals area, the mastery stage of goals area is purpose-driven goals. They're not just about making more money or what are you going to do with that money? If you had the money, what would you do with it? What is the purpose behind having all this money or having all this free time? And then the abilities, when you're serving others, that's the mastery level of serving others. And the skills thing, one teaches, two learn. This is the beginning of my mantra in the morning. I'm open to love, to learn, to teach, to learn, to inspire others. It's 14 words. First, I have to acknowledge the fact that I'm open. And even if I'm not open, I tell myself I am. In the book of Joel, it says, let the weakling say he is strong. So the Bible even teaches affirmations. Even if it's not true today, say it as if it were true. The book of Joel says, let the weakling say he's strong. I am open to love. I think love is the most powerful thing in the universe. And so I want to start with it. I'm open to love, to learn, to teach, to learn. When I teach, I learn. You guys teach me something every time. Questions come up in class. I mean, even the Procuring Cause class we have the other day. You know, I have taught that class many times, but I always get questions about things. You know what? I might just learn how to deliver the topic better, so it's more intelligible and more comprehensive and more comprehensible, because that's what the students come for. They want to leave with some value, and I want to give them that value because we want them to come back. We have 3 classes scheduled for May, Ruthie, and I had an agent call me today. Actually, she emailed me and said, listen, I need some CE. I said, we got 3 classes at Agent Forum. It's $10, and you can sit at home. So we have agency, we have contracts, and we have a class on the top 6 technology things. And I know we've talked about this before, but if you're not in these classes, I don't care if you need the topic or not. A master is one who knows and does. And for me, I go to seminars every month, whether they're online or in person or whatever, I go every month. And they're seminars that I've been to. I go, Buffini, I've gone out of the last 17 years, I think I've gone 14 of the years. And I'm going to go back this year. I'm taking my family this time to San Diego. While they're in San Diego on the beach, I'm going to run down to Buffini for a couple of days, and then I'll come back to see my family. But you got to continuous learning. You're never done. You're never done.
Well, I know.
That's a lot. Sorry.
No, go ahead. So you said I'm open to love, I'm open to teach, and I'm open to learn.
I'm open to love, to learn, to teach, to learn, to inspire others. Those 14 words are what I start every morning with. That's my morning mantra. I'm open to love, to learn, to teach, to learn, to inspire others. I want somebody to say at some point, you know what? I went to Jimmy Dague's class and I just got inspired. Now, here's what we know. You're not going to stay inspired. Zig Ziglar used to say, you know what? Inspiration and motivation are important that you get them, and they don't last, and neither does bathing. We recommend you do it on a regular basis. So inspiration it's a regular thing.
I am open to love. I forgot one.
I'm open to love, to learn, to teach, to learn, to inspire others. So to learn is in there twice. To learn is in there twice.
To teach, to learn, to inspire others. What a great mantra that is.
It's been mine since early 2000s.
So Jimmy, do you ever feel overwhelmed when you learn? I get overwhelmed because I can't teach it fast enough.
If you're overwhelmed, you're underplanned. If you're overwhelmed, you're underplanned, which means you're trying to learn everything instead of coming up with a learning plan. If we were doing a business planning clinic together, you and I, one of the areas that we would set goals in is your learning goals. Which seminars, which books, which tapes. If you do some of those things, you've won that area. Nobody can do it all. And you're an overachiever, Ruthie. You want to do everything. Life doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. No wonder you get overwhelmed.
Well, you know, I'm 73 years old. I don't know if I'll ever learn that. I know, I'm going to continue to try. Trying's not really a word. I'm going to do it, Jimmy. I am going to get more organized in my learning. I'm going to have a schedule. And I told you the other day, my to-do list went up to 31 things. So I think what I need to do is to categorize that list and determine what's important, and also group like things together. I seem to sometimes jump around too. And, but I just want to share everything I know all the time. And it overwhelms me.
There's two schools of thought on this. One of the schools of thought is you swallow the biggest frog first thing in the morning, get that big frog out of the way, and everything goes downhill from there. So when you look at your list of 31 things, should you tackle the biggest, most important one first? The other school of thought is to make your bed. I mean, this admiral that McRaven that's doing all these speeches, he's a SEAL, a Navy Admiral SEAL, and he says, you know what? Start with the small wins. When you get up in the morning, just make your bed. Get some small wins under your belt. So when you look at your 31 things, is your nature better served by hitting 3 or 4 of those little things and crossing them off? Or is your nature better served by saying, you know what, let me just tackle the biggest one first and get as far as I can on that, and then I know I've done the best I can with that one. And you showed me you don't only have a list for yourself, do you, Ruth? You have a list for someone else too, don't you?
I have a list for Kane. I have a list for Mary Ann. I have a list for, yeah. Well, I have to, you know, I'm basically managing 3 different companies. So, yeah.
And you're going to inspire the heck out of them. Here's your list.
Right. Well, making lists is a good thing. I'm a paper person as well as, you know, doing everything digitally. I like looking at things and writing things down. And I notice you make notes too a lot.
And there's a reward for crossing things off. You get a psychological, subconscious, emotional reward. When you cross something off, say, you know what, I did something good. And those rewards are important. That crossing something off, that's an important piece of your day.
I think I told you the other day that I started working on my YouTube channel to improve it. And I mentioned that to Kane yesterday, that we have to work on it. And so once I learn it, then I can teach Kane how to do it, and then he can help me do it. So I have to do, but I'm always the log jam, if you know what I'm saying. You know, I become the log jam. So,
well, progress, not perfection. I mean, you've heard Buffini say that before. Progress, not perfection. Celebrate your progress as you go along, and then maybe you will feel less like that logjam.
Yeah, I agree. Hi, Charlotte. Charlotte's here. Charlotte wants to know if we're going to have our class tomorrow at 1 in the training center. And yes, we are. But people have to actually call Marie to make sure that we don't overbook it, because we can only have 12 people in that room at a time. And normally the Thursday class is where we review Facebook and how to advertise and go over some things on the website, how you post to LinkedIn and things like that. We review. It's a review class from 1 to 3. So just give Marie a call, and I'll put her number up here so that if you want to come into class, that you make sure Marie knows. So I'm going to put her number up here real quick. I can remember it. Marie, you'll chime in if I put it up here wrong, I'm sure.
You know, we are an instant gratification society. We want to drive through Starbucks. We don't want to get out of our car. That would take too much time. Let me just be in the drive-through thing. And while I'm in the drive-through at Starbucks, after I order, I'm on the radio listening to some book or to calling my friends or whatever. I'm not just in line at Starbucks. I'm doing 3 other things just like you are. And so it's easy for us to over expect from ourselves. We set an expectation level that's just not realistic. And then we beat ourselves up when we don't hit it. And that's just not healthy. It's not healthy. It's managing our emotional state in a way that works for high performance. Periodization is the alternating periods of work and rest. And if you take periodization, if you train like an athlete in your emotional health and well-being, that means you work on it sometimes, and sometimes you just let it rest. I shared with you, I took most of yesterday off. I didn't do anything. I just laid around the bed and watched a couple of YouTube stuff and a movie, and that was totally worthless, but I was resting.
Well, John makes me rest at night. We have dinner, and then he makes me sit down and relax. And you know what happens? I fall asleep. Well, I'm up at 5 normally, so about 8, 9 o'clock, I put my little head down on the couch and I do fall asleep. So Charlotte says, thank you. No problem. No problem. Spam risk. At least my phone tells me that. Well, Jimmy, what else do we have from you today?
Well, I think if anything, we're a third of the year through. We're 4 months into the year. We only have 8 months left. If you can't, you know, the meaning of the word deadline comes from when the prisoners would go out in the yard and exercise in the olden days, they would draw a circle in the dirt. And if they stepped over that dirt, they would shoot them and kill them. That's what the word deadline comes from. And if your goals and your targets don't have some type of a deadline for them, that's the urgency piece. But in between that deadline, between the time you start and between the time you're supposed to accomplish it, there needs to be milestones in there. So I would say, look at your business plan, look at your prospecting plan, your lead generation plan, your sales and marketing plan, your financial plan. I would look at those 3 things and say, okay, what goals do I have in these areas? And what milestones do I have to know that I'm getting closer? When I go to San Diego, there's a sign that says San Diego 180, another sign that says San Diego 150, another sign that says San Diego 120. The highway department understands that if those numbers start going up, I turned wrong somewhere. So they give me guideposts and they tell me, here's where you are right now, and you're getting closer. And those reinforcements, I relax for a few minutes. And then I start wondering, gee, am I on the right road? And then I see another sign and I relax for a few moments. Oh yeah, I'm on the right way. That's what the milestones are all about. When you set your goals, to set the goal for December 31st, there should be some milestones for maybe May 31st, maybe June, maybe July, whatever. And those goals should be in all 5 areas that we've talked about over and over on this show. Your spiritual goals, your family goals, your business goals, your financial goals, and your personal goals. And there needs to be milestones in there. So you celebrate that achievement as you hit it.
Yeah, John yesterday decided to make some goals about calling some of his past clients. Now, he's not really actively in buyers, but he has always been a good listing agent. So he set a goal for himself to call 20 of his past clients every day. And for years, I have been digitally saving all of his files on his computer. So he's going through them, and he's amazed at how many deals he used to do every he did 3 to 4 every month, and he's amazed that he was able to do that. But and he that's not his goal for the future. His goal is to maybe do 1 a month, but call 20 people every day to see how quickly he can get into that 1 deal per month. So he has something he's going to do, and he has a goal he's going to try to achieve by doing that. I was so happy that he was going to do it, because you know, it's been a rough year for him, but he finally had that operation last month, and he's getting better every day, and he's just amazing. He's got terrific foundation, because he's very resilient. So I'm real happy that he's going to do that.
Good. Well, I would be willing to bet almost any amount of money that less than 5% of the realtors, less than 1 out of 20, actually calls more than 10 people per day, 4 days a week. I think it's the top 5% of realtors. So if his goal is 20 per day, 4 days a week, and I know that you didn't say 4 days a week, but I'm just thinking if he does that 4 days a week, that's going to put him in the top 5% of realtors in the country. That's just, it has to. Well, even if he gives the leads away.
The average agent in the United States makes $36,000 a year, which is like not even a deal a quarter.
Right.
So that's just stuff they stumble upon, just because they're human beings. So what Karen have to say? I told my agents yesterday at Buffini Group, get laser focused now. Decide on one facet of the business and focus on that. And don't eat the elephant. That's so true. Don't eat the elephant. Or if you do it one bite at a time, right, Karen? Well, Jimmy, we haven't heard a joke today.
Oh my goodness, you want a joke?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
You got 4 minutes.
I got 4 minutes. Okay. I'll come up with one. I didn't know I was supposed to do a joke a day.
Well, you didn't know that you're that consistent. You always do a joke a day.
No, I didn't realize that I was doing that.
Yeah, you're a great joke teller too.
Well, do you remember? Let's see. Let me think. Maybe tomorrow I'll have to come up with two. Now that my feet are to the fire, they're not coming to me right now.
So tomorrow, everybody, we have Michelle Bellicero on from So Boca in Boca Raton, Florida, and she is an Instagram expert. And she's going to talk to us about Instagram and about branding. She's also becoming a branding expert because she has branded herself as So Boca. So she's the information source for anybody wanting to move to Boca Raton. And you know, a lot of New Yorkers move to Florida, and that's a beautiful place. And so she's got a great website and a great Instagram. She's on the Instagram platform, and I think she's also doing YouTube now. So she's doing it the right way, one bite at a time. She's not trying to eat the whole elephant, but she is really full of energy. And I think everybody tomorrow, you're just going to really enjoy her. And Jimmy and I are going to be here and just kind of sit back and relax and listen to her because she can really get going. Good morning, Erin Mills. How are you? How are you? One of our honored guests, along with we got Cookie, who's an honored guest, and we got Karen, who's an honored guest, and I'm going to get Cammie on here. And anybody wants to come on here, just let me know, because we love the energy and the questions and people's input to what's going on in our industry. And I think that we should all think of some questions, Jimmy, to ask each other in the chat here in the comment section. And, you can always ask questions after this is over. And I do get back to people that have questions. I go through all the comments and I answer all the questions. And so don't hesitate to do that. So tomorrow is So Boca, Michelle Bellicero. She is becoming a national icon for Instagram and for branding. So I think it'll be an inspiring show for everybody. I told Jimmy earlier, I don't do a lot of Instagram. I do mostly Facebook Lives and Facebook stories. I'm getting more into Facebook stories. And my next deep dive is to clean up my YouTube channel so that I can get more than 126 subscribers. So Jimmy, any parting words?
Well, I know you have Marketing Max on Saturday. And I'm wondering, do you know what Saturday's show is going to be already?
I'm looking for that lender. I called a couple lenders. You gave me some names, and I liked. What's your idea?
Well, lending is important. 70% of the deals are financed, so we should know some base level of knowledge on lenders and finances. And I'm curious if either one of them will talk about down payment assistance, because most people only have 30 days money in the bank and they've probably spent it by now. So the only way they're going to be able to buy a house is if there's some type of down payment assistance program that is out there and that is actually funding deals. And so
that's good.
And the other thing is, like you said, in the chat, if anyone here has a topic or an idea that you say, look, we want to take a deeper dive into this or whatever, if you tell us what you want us to cover, we'll actually see if we can't come up with some type of a plan of, here's what the people that have watched this, these are people that tell us what you want.
Exactly, because that's why we're here, trying to stay connected with you and answer your questions, and hopefully give you some guidance and give you some inspiration to start achieving your goals. First of all, write them down and then start working on them.
Well, if we know ahead of time what we're going to bring up, like let's say Karen suggests something and we tell Cookie, look, on Friday, we're going to talk about this. This was Karen's suggestion. And then Cookie thinks of 2 or 3 questions about that if we don't answer, it makes the show much more interactive and much more relevant. It gets the questions that you think about. You have a couple days ahead to think about. So just a thought. Thank you, Ruthie, for having me on.
Well, and so you'll be here tomorrow, you'll be here Friday. And are you teaching on Saturday? Or are you going to be with me on Saturday?
I think I'm going to be with you on Saturday. I still don't know. I wouldn't be teaching Saturday. I would be taking lessons.
Oh, that's right.
My martial arts master has not let me know if we're gonna work out on Saturday. I have to go see him. I haven't seen him for a month and a half.
If you are, Jimmy, it will be great because I know you'll have some interesting questions for the lender. So far, we're going to have the lender on there. And then I'm going to have Cammie on, but Cammie, perhaps I would like to have you on twice, actually. I'd like to have you on our daily and then maybe on a Saturday. So anyway, I'm making my May schedule. So, all right, Jimmy. Well, we love everybody. There's Miss Cookie. Wonderful idea. All righty. And so everybody take care. Have a great day. It's, is it Wednesday?
I don't even know myself. Yes, it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. That's good. We got a couple more days.
Yeah, we do.
Days. Okay. Bye, Jimmy. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We love you.